2017 is now in session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation. Dear God, thank you for bringing us together safely this evening and for the many blessings we enjoy. Help us to remember the reason for the season and open our hearts to kindness, understanding, tolerance, and respect. We ask that you give comfort to those who have lost loved ones and give them peace in the memories of seasons past. We pray for the speedy recovery of those in ill health, and let us open our hearts to those alone. Let kindness come with every gift and good desires with every greeting. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
No, not this week. I know. I hear it all the time.
Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Here.
Spinelli. Here. Kalwinski.
Here.
Torres.
Here.
Higgs.
Here.
Emerson.
Here.
Warple.
Here.
Rakels.
Here.
Vines.
Here. Let the record reflect 9 present, 0 absent. For the record, the Hammond Common Council met in executive session on November 20th, 2018 to discuss personnel. Okay. Reading of the minutes?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes, approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Spitali to accept the amended minutes for, is that date November 5th, Councilman?
Yes, it is. Excuse me.
Thank you. Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Higgs. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman?
are we accepting all the minutes or just, I'm confused.
Well, actually, because this is in our packet, Councilman Spitali wanted to ask for approval, even though they were approved at the last minute, so, at the last meeting. So we will go through that. Yes, Clerk?
Yes, a short explanation to the council that since the council made an amendment from the November meeting, now you're just approving those minutes as amended. Then the council will then make a motion to approve last minute's meetings. Just because there was an amendment, that's the reason why.
Thank you for the clarification.
Madam President,
One moment. Clerk Golick, then can we do the November 20th one at the same
Yes.
time? Okay.
First
Yes,
approve
Councilman
this one,
Spitali.
and then the motion to
Okay.
approve the 20th.
Pardon me?
First, a motion to approve this one, and then a motion to approve the 20th.
We do it
Okay.
twice.
Okay, so, any discussion on the November 5th minutes? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Spitali?
now I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes from November 20th, 2018, and to be put on file.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson to accept the minutes of November 20th.
20th.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to approval of claims.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
Move for approval of claims November 14th through 2018 through December 5th, 2018 for council meeting December 10th, 2018. Beginning with claims dated 11/26/18 and ending with claims dated 12/5/18, claim number 6937 through claim number 7299, for a total of $5,273,006.37. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs, to approve the claims from November 14th through December 5th, 2018. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. Claims pass, 9 in favor, 0 opposed. Moving on to public hearing.
Item A, ordinance 18-24, sponsored by Councilman Spitali and Councilman Higgs. An ordinance to create Fund 254 and to appropriate funds within the Hammond Police Department Grant Fund for 2018-2019.
Madam President.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Councilman Higgs?
Go ahead, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 1824, please approach the podium. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 1824, this is your opportunity to voice your opinion. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance number 1824, please approach the podium. Thank you. Public hearings is now closed. Moving on to communications.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
received the correspondence from Helping Hands. It's dated November 9, 2018. Dear community leaders, greetings. It is time of the year again. We are writing to ask for your assistance with your World with Cause. Helping Hands, a non-for-profit organization involving Northwest Indiana Building Construction Trades Council, affiliate local unions and union contractors, Lake Regional Chambers and Chambers of Lake County Economic Alliance, Lake County Commissioner's Office, Construction Advancement Foundation, NIPSCO, Maryville, Ross Township, and First Midwest Banks. Our sole purpose is to help needy families in Northwest Indiana area. We are pleased with our success last year, but we always try to advance more and have what is needed. Without your help, we cannot continue in our efforts. Our Helping Hands Committee realizes that every kid should have a toy to open on Christmas. So we are asking you to please consider making a donation, whether new, unopened toys, or any monetary amount to the Helping Hands campaign. An average of $15,000 is donated annually. A gift card be donated to the Truth House, Gary, St. Joseph, East Chicago, Camelot, East Chicago, Center for Possibilities in Hobart, the Rainbow Art Shelter, Gary. Hundreds of toys are donated from union contractors. We are an all-volunteer group. With your involvement, all contributions are tax deductible, and 100% of the year contributions will be used for Northwest Indiana families in need during their holiday season. Anything you can do to help us would be greatly appreciated. Please make checks payable to Helping Hands, mailed to Northwest Indiana Building Trades Council, 6570 Ameriplex Drive, Portage, Indiana, 46368.
Thank you. Any other communications?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
Prime Genie Incorporated upcoming events 2019 sponsor applications will be available January 29th. Applications criteria must be a female, have a 3-point CPA or higher, must have letters of recommendations, 2 from school officials, 1 from community persons, ex-business owners, religious or political leaders, must be applied for a 4-year college, university, must receive some type of public assistance, free, reduced lunch, must be a current graduating senior, 6th annual all free prom dress giveaway, Jean Shepherd Center, 3031 JF Manhoney Drive, Hammond, Indiana, 46323, March the 23rd, 2019, from 9 to 2. A current ID is required. College, careers, research fair at Jean Shepherd Center is also being held there from 9 to 2. So it's basically an organization reaching out in the community.
Thank you. Any other communications? Any other communications? Any other communications? Communications are now closed. Committee reports.
Madam President,
Yes,
Finance will be reporting out 1824.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Councilman Kalwinski?
Madam President,
Yes.
motion to leave the regular order of business to bring out 18R-42.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kalwinski, second by Councilman Spitali, to suspend the regular order of business to bring out 18R-42, correct? Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. Motion passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to move for passage of 18R-42.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kalwinski, second by Councilman Warple, for a final passage of Resolution 18R-42. Any discussion?
Madam Chair Lady.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Resolution 18R-42, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski. A resolution of the Hammond Common Council approving the development agreement among the City of Hammond, Indiana, the Hammond Redevelopment Commission, City of Hammond Economic Development Commission, and DX Hammond, OPCO, LLC regarding development in the state line allocation area.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to have Attorney Kevin Smith approach the podium to give us a summary on this, please.
Good evening, Madam President and council members. Thank you, Councilman Kowinski, for the sponsorship of this ordinance. As the council is well aware, this has to do with the development of the former State Line Energy plant area up on the lakefront. It is currently an allocation area with the Redevelopment Commission, and this is the passage of the development agreement that has to do with the development of about 15 acres for Phase 1 of the developers of the data centers project. It's a $40 million investment in the city. It's about 105,000 square foot facility. Mr. Dockich and Mr. Feldman are both here from Indianapolis and New York, respectively, and they believe that this facility will be up and operational if things go according to plan by next September, which is good news. The development agreement sets forth the city's obligations and the developer's obligations on the property. You will also have a bond ordinance in front of you in the upcoming weeks regarding this project, but the development agreement, the importance of this is that it moves the project forward, it continues it on its current timeline, and I can also report to the council that thanks to the Redevelopment Commission and its attorney, Mr. Westland, this morning, the Redevelopment Commission is now owner of about 44 of those acres up on the lake, which is good news. There is a lease agreement that will be signed in short order between the Redevelopment Commission and Mr. Dockich and Mr. Feldman's group that will further keep this project moving forward. We would request your passage of this just as the Redevelopment Commission and the Economic Development Commission have. Thank you.
Madam President.
Councilman Higgs.
Kevin, can you explain the fact that not only did they purchase the property, but some of the property was also donated as well?
Yes, Councilman Higgs, thank you for reminding me about that. So this property, after, as many of you may recall, this was owned by Dominion Energy, was the last company that owned it as a power plant. After that, the Beamster Boers, which is a Hammond company, as you all know, they have a LLC called Sam Townline that purchased the property from Dominion and then proceeded to demolish it. You remember when those big smokestacks came down and everything, right? They demolished it. They then are the owner of the property, the vacant land, which is ready for development. And you all know the story about how we applied for the Amazon thing, and this got folks like Mr. Feldman all of a sudden interested in this parcel of property, even though New York City is a long way away from Hammond. As part of the agreement, Councilman Higgs, the Beamster Boers agreed, because they want to keep 23 acres for their own potential development on the eastern side of this. It means there's about 44 acres on the other side of it. And as part of the agreement, we only had to purchase 5 acres of it, but Mr. Beamster Boer agreed to donate 39 acres to the city. So we bought 5 acres at the agreed upon average of the 2 appraisal price. That was closed today, and then along with that came 39 acres of donation. I hope that answers your question, Councilman Higgs.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Kowinski, actually.
Again, what was the average price per acre?
Sure. The average of the per acre price, and that was by 2 appraisals through the Redevelopment Commission, was $170,000 per acre. So I believe the purchase today was $862,500, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam Chair Lady,
Yes, Councilman Mark.
I'd like to be put on as a sponsor, being that it's my district and I live in that area and been involved with the Port Authority ever since everything's been going on in development over there. Growing up as a kid, fishing there, hanging out, looking for trouble, finding trouble. I mean, it's a nice change of scenery.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali. Yes. Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakels.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R42 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
motion to return to the regular order of business.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kowinski, second by Councilman Spitali, to return to the regular order of business. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a good holiday.
Okay, moving on to ordinance, third and final passage.
Ordinance 18-24, sponsored by Councilman Spitali and Councilman Higgs. An ordinance to create Fund 254 and to appropriate funds within the Hammond Police Department Grant Fund for 2018-2019.
Madam President.
Who was that, I'm sorry? Councilman Higgs.
I make a motion that we pass 18-24. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali, for final passage of 18R24. Councilman Spitali, any discussion?
Yeah, this ordinance is a grant from the police department, a grant from the Operation Pullover, which if awarded to the city of Hammond, will be for $108,625. And this also is pullover, they'll be checking out for seat belts, drunken driving, and aggressive driving also. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please, on 1824.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 1824 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the ordinance for final passage.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to introduction of ordinances.
Item A, ordinance 18-29, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance fixing the salaries for elected officials for the city of Hammond, Indiana, commencing January 1, 2019, be it ordained by the Common Council of the city of Hammond, Indiana.
Madam President,
Councilman Spitali.
we'll go through first and second reading, refer to the Finance Committee with a set date for a meeting on December 17th at 5 o'clock.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Warple, for first and second reading of 1829, referring to finance with a committee meeting on December 17th at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, ordinance 18-30, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance authorizing the city controller to transfer funds from one line item to another within various city 2018 budgets.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
I'll go through first and second reading, refer to Finance Committee with a meeting set on December 17th, 2018 at 5 o'clock.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, for first and second reading of 1830, referring to finance with a committee meeting on December 17th at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, ordinance 18-31, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. An ordinance to create Fund 241 and to appropriate funds within the Hammond Police Department Grant Fund for 2019.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move through first and second reading, refer to Finance Committee
Second.
with a public hearing set for 1/14/19 and a meeting set for 5 o'clock on 1/14/19.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, for first and second reading of 1831, with a public hearing on January 14th, also referring to finance on January 14th at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, ordinance 18-32, sponsored by the Hammond City Plan Commission and Councilman Rakos. An ordinance reclassifying certain lands in the city of Hammond for zoning purposes and amending ordinance number 8514, which is an ordinance establishing a zoning plan for the city of Hammond, including the regulations and maps to administer the zoning plan in order to provide for orderly growth and development within the city, all in accordance with the comprehensive land use plan as amended. For property commonly known as 3702, 3704, 3710, 3716, 3724, and 3772 Orchard Drive.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Rakos.
I move it to pass on first and second reading 18-32 with intent to consider on a regular meeting on December 17th.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Higgs for first and second reading of 1832 with an intent to consider on 12/17. Are you having a committee meeting, Councilman?
No.
No?
not.
Okay. All righty. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item E, ordinance 18-33, sponsored by Councilman Warple and Spinelli. An ordinance of the City of Hammond, Indiana concerning removal of the City of Hammond Waterworks Department from the jurisdiction of the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for first and second reading, refer to council as a whole, and we need to set up 2 meetings. The first public meeting will be Thursday, February 21st, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. at the Hammond Waterworks Department, 6505 Columbia Avenue. The second meeting will be Wednesday, March 6, 2019 at 10 a.m. at the Sportsplex at 6630 Indianapolis Boulevard.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Higgs for first and second reading of 1833, referring to council as a whole. There will be 2 public meetings. Forgive me, Councilman, I didn't get the day of the week. I know it's 2/21, 5:30 p.m. at the Hammond Waterworks.
That's a Thursday?
It's a Thursday, okay. And the other one is on March 6th.
March 6th, yes.
Yes.
It's a
and
Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday, okay. Wednesday, March 6th, 10:30 a.m. at the Sportsplex. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
this is an ordinance that gets us out of the Indiana Regulatory, or Utilities Regulatory Commission. Basically, what it does is it gets us away from their regulations and guidelines that, for instance, has imposed, I think it was a $700,000, some odd dollar cost to us because while we waited on the commission to approve the bond for the electrical work done at the power plant, the rates went up and stuff like that. We would be joining 93% of all other cities by getting the water department out of the IURC.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs. Councilman Higgs, were you the second on this?
yes,
Who was the second?
I was.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Warple, can you tell them about the savings, the general public about the savings?
Like I just stated, we passed a bond, I think it was last year, for to redo the electrical work at the power plant, and while we were waiting for the IURC to approve the bond, our rates changed on us. And as a stipulation of getting the bond, we now have to set aside roughly $700,000 a year as collateral. I believe, am I using the right word? As collateral against the payment of the bond that basically we're going to get through water sales anyway.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Markovich.
what was the date of that first meeting? February what?
Thursday, February 21st,
Yeah.
5:30 p.m. at the Hammond Waterworks.
Which waterworks, on Conkey Street or on the lakefront?
Columbia Avenue.
Columbia Avenue or the lakefront, which place?
Columbia Avenue.
6505 Columbia Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
46324.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F, ordinance 18-34, sponsored by Councilman Rakos. And ordinance amending ordinance numbers 6049, 7472, 8620, 8638, 8669, 91 and 81, and 9242, also known as Section 37.020 of the Hammond Municipal Code, pertaining to required updates to the Hammond Personnel Policy Manual.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Rakos.
for first and second reading, 1834, and council as a whole on December 17th for 1834.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Rakos, second by Councilman Higgs, for first and second reading of 1834, referring to council as a whole on December 17th at 5 p.m. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B under resolutions. Resolution 18R43, sponsored by the Mayor's Office of Economic Development of Planning and Development and Councilman Spinelli. A resolution of the Hammond City Council approving the transfer of the ability to redesignate enterprise zones from the Board of the Indiana Economic Development Corporation to the Common Council of the City of Hammond, and redesignating the Hammond Enterprise Zone for a period of 5 years from the current sunset date of December 31st, 2019.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
for final passage of 18R43.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson, for final passage of 18R43. Any discussion?
Madam
Madam
President, go ahead.
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
The Urban Enterprise Association of Hammond is a 501c tax-exempt nonprofit entity. The Hammond Enterprise was first designated in 1985 to stimulate economic development and private investment within the EZ. The EZ last renewed in 2014 by the Hammond Common Council, action for a 5-year period, which is December 31st, 2019. The EZ program for the final 5-year period is through December 31st, 2024.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I just I only have one request, and that is we have Ask Africa and I think Dan Bobich. You don't necessarily have to come up. I'm just requesting that you all submit a list of all the appointees on the board currently and who makes the appointments as well, and the designated areas. And if you can give us a geographical map of the updated area, that would be greatly appreciated for me and my colleagues.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please, on 18R43.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple,
Yes.
Rakos,
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R43 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item C, Resolution 18R44, sponsored by Councilman Warple. A 2018 appropriation reduction resolution.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I move for final passage of 18R44.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Warple, second by Councilman Rakos for final passage of 18R44. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
this resolution reduces the budget appropriation in the general fund for 2018 to allow for an increased budget in the general fund in 2019. This was already reflected in our 2019 budget as line 2 worksheet reduction, and basically what this is a $750,000 savings we had in the personal services line item, mostly related to insurance savings. And it's also a $250,000 in services and charges line item due mostly to the recycling service expenses to the recycling grant fund. It allowed us to not have to go find another $1 million for the 2019 budget.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please, on 18R44.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R44 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item D, Resolution 18R45, sponsored by Councilman Spitali. A resolution authorizing the Hammond Police Department to apply for a 2019 pedestrian bicycle safety grant.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
move for final passage of 18R45.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson for final passage of 18R45. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Spitali.
This resolution is just to authorize the Hammond Police Department to apply for the 2019 Indiana Traffic Safety Grant, which is for $12,500.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to be added as a co-sponsor of this particular resolution.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
do we have anybody from the police department here? I just want to know if apparently this is an important grant, and we just don't hear about the pedestrian bicycle accidents that there are in the city, but I imagine there are a few. Otherwise, we wouldn't be asking for this grant. That's all.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam
Any other
President,
discussion? Yes, Councilman Warple.
I think it was explained in caucus, I could be wrong, but this is a bicycle safety grant, right, for $12,500?
Safety Village, I
Yes.
can never remember that, yes. And the Safety Village is right by the Civic Center, and they offer children the opportunity to ride streets with traffic signals and railroad crossings, and to teach them how to ride their bike safely. Any other discussion?
Madam Chairman?
Yes, Councilman Torres.
Yeah, I had to leave the caucus during that time, but I am very aware of the Safety Village, and they do offer quite a few good programs, so I can understand it now.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please, on 18R45.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R45 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item E, Resolution 18R46, sponsored by Councilman Kalwinski. A resolution to reappoint Miriam Soto Presley to the Hammond Redevelopment Commission.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Kalwinski.
move for passage of 18R-46.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Kalwinski, second by Councilman Higgs, for final passage of 18R46. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman.
Ms. Presley has served on the Redevelopment Commission for a number of years and has done a very good job, and also serves as translator as needed on the Redevelopment Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please, on 18R46.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
Yes. 18R46 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Item F, Resolution 18R-47, sponsored by Councilman Higgs. A resolution to reappoint Gregory Myricks to the Hammond Redevelopment Commission.
Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Higgs.
I move for final passage of Resolution 18R47. I so move.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 18R47. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, please.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Yes.
Vines.
18R47 passes, 9 in favor, 0 opposed.
President Vines, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business. Any new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
I would like to make a motion that we hire for our Hammond Council Administrative Secretary, Susan Stafford, our present secretary. That's, well, I'll make the motion. Effective to November 30th of 2010.
Motion by Councilman Torres to hire Susan Stafford as administrative assistant. You called executive secretary, what?
Administrative.
Administrative secretary, effective November 30th.
Of 2018, right?
Yes. Apparently, yes.
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
that
Councilman.
just makes it effective through December of this year.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by, motion by Councilman Torres, second by Councilman Higgs to accept Susan Stafford as Administrative Secretary effective November 30th, 2018. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to know what her salary is going to be exactly, if Mr. Torres can, Councilman Torres can tell me what her salary is.
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Torres.
salary would be $40,000.
Any discussion?
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Torres.
Susan has been with us as a part-timer for 3 years and a full-timer for a year at the end of December. She took on the full-time responsibilities when the then secretary, Debbie Jimenez, took sick and fortunately had to retire on disability. And she's done a yeoman's job and still learning the job, but I think she will make a adequate secretary and will learn the job as what it entails.
Madam President,
Who was that, Councilman Higgs? Yes.
I just, if our city controller can step up, we need to actually verify what her actual title would be.
Thank you, Councilman, Madam President. I just wanted to point out that the salary that was indicated by Councilman Torres was $40,000. That does not currently exist within the salary ordinance. So in order to pay her that amount, we would require an executive order to amend the salary to that, which is something that the mayor would have to sign off on. So either she would have to be hired at a position that currently exists within the salary ordinance within your department budget, or we need some sort of permission, authority from the mayor to issue that executive order in order to change that pay and potentially change that title. I'm not sure off the top of my head what the title is in your salary ordinance currently.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
also, in order for that to take effect, it should be actually effective January 1. We're actually, so that means that if we give her a salary, her adjustments would have to be made within the controller's office to supplement what she's currently making now to make it so it's adjustable to what her salary should be.
And again, Councilman, the salary ordinance for the civil city has already been passed for 2019, and that amount does not currently exist within the salary ordinance underneath the council's budget. So any changes to that, whether it be increased or reduced, would require the issuance of an executive order.
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Torres.
we didn't approve that on the salary ordinance for the council budget.
No, sir. The salary ordinance reflected the current kind of status quo in order to give you guys time to make up your mind. You weren't ready to make the decision on that position at the time of the budgets, and when it was when the civil city salary ordinance was due. The elected officials is due at the end of the year, but civil city is due November 1st. So any changes to what's already in there just requires that executive order by the mayor.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
so in essence, what she is saying is that the current position that's already in the salary ordinance, that would be her position, but it would only take effect in January 1.
Well, Councilman, it actually is not at that salary. There are positions within your budget, but it's not at that $40,000 rate.
I know. And I don't have it in front of me, but I know it's not $40,000.
Right.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
reason I recommended November 30th of this year, because she's been doing that job since May, been shortchanged, hasn't been getting paid as a full-time administrative secretary, and I know it can be retroactive to a backdate. So it's only fair that she gets compensated for that time she did work, has been working all that time as a full-time secretary.
Councilman, the executive order has the ability to make it retroactive. However, the council does not have the authority to change the salary within a year.
What authority do you have for that proposition?
It is state statute that states that the executive is the only one who may reduce or increase salaries during a current year by an executive order. We've asked our city attorney, Chris Cantar, to look into whether or not they can do it for the council.
But that doesn't say that the council cannot reduce it itself for
The
its own
council is not
employees.
allowed to increase or decrease salaries after the salary ordinance has been passed.
Will you give me some authority for that?
I'm not the city attorney, she's clearly not here today, but we have
What?
looked into it, and we've looked to see whether or not the mayor can even do so for the council. It is silent on that factor. It is not intended to do so for the judge. It has the allowance, we believe, to do it for the clerk. However, the city council may only decrease those budget items during the budget process. Once the salary ordinance has been approved by the council, they cannot do so within the year. Only the executive has that authority.
Well, I agree for people that are under the executive, but the employees of the council, I think, are subject to the will of the council, and I think the salary ordinance is only the maximum that can be paid. I think the department head can always pay less.
The statute is silent as to the council. It states that any salaries throughout the year after the salary ordinance has been passed by the council can be reduced or increased by the executive through an executive order.
Well, that's what you say, but that.
Well, that's what the state statute says,
You're not
but,
citing a statute or a court opinion.
well, I understand that, Attorney Berger. I'm not the city attorney, as I pointed out, and Mr. Torres has brought this up on the floor, so I wasn't prepared to speak to Indiana code.
Madam President,
Councilman Kalwinski.
given there's some confusion, I would make a suggestion that our Attorney Berger looks further into the matter. We hold an executive session to determine what action to proceed with, and perhaps table this for now till we get clear legal advice from our attorney. Thank you.
Any discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs?
Is there a motion to table?
Yeah, you can't discuss on motion to table. But maybe discussion's
Is there a motion to table? Is that? Okay. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs?
I guess I need clarity as to whether there's a motion to table, because there's no discussion if there's a motion to table. So if we're going to table it.
Councilman Kalwinski has indicated he has not made a motion.
Madam President,
Councilman Kalwinski?
I believe that Councilman Torres brought this out, and if he wants to pull it back for now, that would be a way to manage it, or not.
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs?
I will rescind my second.
Councilman Torres?
Madam Chairman, Attorney Berger can research that on the salary issue, but I will stay with my motion that she be hired effectively from November 30th, or be promoted, I guess, to administrative secretary.
Okay, so there is a motion on the floor by Councilman Torres to hire Susan Torres, effective November 30th.
Susan Stafford.
Susan Stafford. Effective November 30th at a salary of $40,000. Is there a second?
Second.
You just rescinded your second, so what are you doing?
Madam,
And I have the ability to also second. He made a motion again after I rescinded.
Madam President.
Madam Chairman,
Okay, gentlemen, one moment, please.
okay.
One moment. Councilman Torres made a motion. Councilman Higgs seconded it. Then Councilman Higgs rescinded his second. Then Councilman Torres reiterated his motion. And now Councilman Higgs, you want to second it again?
Point of order.
Yes.
He had a motion to table, that's what was taken away.
There was no motion to table.
There was a motion to table,
There
but
was no motion
there was no
to
well, he
table.
suggested that they make a motion to
There
table, and there was no
no
second.
motion.
Okay,
So,
we're under discussion.
Councilman Higgs,
Madam President,
yes, Councilman.
I'm just trying to add to maybe clarify a little bit here. I believe that legally we can promote her to the position, but I'm asking that we don't designate a salary till our attorney can research what we can do about that. That is what I'm trying to get through here.
Okay.
And I'd like Attorney Berger to weigh in. Does that make sense at all to go that far right now?
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Councilman Torres.
I can withdraw my motion and reinstate it in another way, that we hire Susan Stafford as administrative secretary, and the wages can be researched and
This is your guys' game, isn't it?
be appropriated later at another date.
All righty, so there's a motion on the floor by Councilman Torres to hire Susan Stafford as administrative secretary. Is there a second?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
also, I guess I should say point of order, Madam President, because we already have a motion on the floor, and in order to go to another motion, we have to rescind that
He
motion.
did rescind it.
So he rescinded the first.
Yes, he did, and restated.
Yes, I rescind it and
Okay.
restate.
So now, what is the motion? Again, can you clarify?
That we hire Susan Stafford as administrative secretary, and the wages will be determined at a future date.
Okay, second.
Motion by Councilman Torres, second by Councilman Higgs to hire Susan Stafford as administrative secretary. Any discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I know if I was taking a job, I would certainly want to know how much I'm getting paid. So if our city controller can please step to the podium and tell me what the salary is currently for the administrative assistant secretary to the council of 9 people.
Again, this was kind of dropped in my lap today, so I'm going to try to pull this for you.
Madam
I believe it's
President.
at 40.
Yes, Councilman Warple.
If I understand all this, there's a motion on the table that says we're going to hire somebody as an administrative, what is it?
Secretary.
And it's my understanding the position doesn't exist by title.
The position exists by title. I do not have the 2018 salaries in front of me. As I stated, I was not
I
prepared to have
believe
this
it was
discussion
42
today.
in the
So
budget.
for 2019, the administrative secretary position is listed at $42,866. The secretary position is at $32,640. The Indiana Code section that references the executive's ability to change the salaries within a budget year is in 3647-3. It states that subject to the approval of the city legislative body, which would be the council, the city executive shall fix the compensation of each appointed officer, deputy, and other employee of the city. The legislative body may reduce but may not increase any compensation fixed by the executive. Compensation must be fixed under the section not later than November 1st of each year for the ensuing budget year. Compensation fixed under this section may be increased or decreased by the executive during the budget year for which it is fixed. And then it speaks to the clerk's office.
So, Madam President,
Yes, Councilman Warple.
I understand this correctly. We're filling the position, but for some reason, we don't want to pay her what we budgeted for it in September, correct?
There's been lots of discussion as to how you would like to fill this vacancy, so.
Madam President.
I'm not done. There's a vacancy that existed at the administrative position. Now there's a motion on the floor that we put somebody there, but we reduced the salary that we just approved in September.
Madam President,
You're correct.
Councilman Kowinski.
thank you. I think we have a motion and a second on the floor,
That is correct.
and I think we mostly have agreed that we want to take this back, let our attorney research it, and come back with it. So let's do that instead of doing this in front of the public. Let's get our legal answers, and let's look at what to do. The motion is to hire Susan Stafford as the administrative secretary, and we have to figure out, through our attorney and others, what she can get paid.
Madam President.
That's what's in front of us. Let's do it.
Thank you, Councilman Kowinski. Councilman Higgs.
The reality of it is that the salary was set at 42, and it will be reduced for the following year. And she read the state statute, but of course, we have an attorney that's given us direction as well. But whether it be 40 or 42, I'm fine with it. The reality of it is we want to follow what the state statute says. And if the state statute says that we have the ability to reduce within the current year, but November 1st is the deadline, then we have to follow the law. And if that's what I'm hearing, that's correct. But we also need to be careful as to, we're just a few weeks before the new year starts. So I don't think it's going to make a difference probably one more check before the end of the year. So why not just put her in the position and it's effective January 1 and be done with it? It's simple.
Call for the vote.
Yes, Councilman Emerson.
What are we
Just a
voting?
comment, what I think we should be worried about is we interviewed 4 or 5 people with that stated salary, and now we're saying we're going to sanction paying less. That's just a comment, but I do think we should move on. But I also think those people sat there thinking if they were getting the nod that they would be paid that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Madam President,
Councilman Markovich.
right now, there's a position open at the Port Authority, and it's listing it, I believe, 63,000 to 72,000 as a range. That's all we're saying here. We're talking about a range. If we want to hire for 40,000, 42, or 36, or whatever. So what she just said there, whatever it says, the Port Authority has a position there. I think somebody's retiring, financial something or other, and it lists a salary range. So that's basically what we're doing, and we can decide what we want to pay as long as it's not more than what was approved in the budget.
Madam
Gentlemen,
President,
if I may.
Madam President,
Yes.
we approved the position we're giving her at a set salary. Now, there is a motion, like Councilman Kowinski said, that we fill that position on the floor, if I'm understanding this correctly, but we're not going to talk about the salary, right?
Yes.
That's what we're going to vote on. So basically what the motion is that we fill the position that we funded in the budget, correct?
Madam President, if I may, Torres is the sponsor of this idea, and that is correct. Let our legal staff person research the dollars, and if we have to do what the controller says, well, we'll decide what to do then. But let's just get this behind us, that she is the one we've chosen. Let's vote on it, and then we'll figure out the salary perhaps by the next meeting. Thank you.
So these premature actions.
Point of order.
We have.
Point of order.
Councilman, I'm just trying to get clarification here. These premature actions that have no paperwork behind us and no research behind us, there is a motion and a second to hire somebody. And do you want to do it? Do you want to move forward with this? Or are we going to sit here and have this endless discussion? So just my question for clarification.
Madam Chairman.
So, Councilman Higgs, you asked for the floor.
I was just going to say, my point of order was just that the vice president, in terms of if you wanted to address something to the fiscal body of the council, and my colleagues, you were actually relinquish the chair and allow the vice president to stay.
I understand the procedure, Councilman Higgs.
That's all.
I was not elaborating. I was just trying to get clarification on where we are on this premature action.
Madam Chairman.
Councilman Torres.
Call for a vote on hiring Susan Stafford, Administrative Secretary, salary to be determined at a future date.
Okay. Clerk Golick.
Markovich. Yes. Spinelli. Yes. Kowinski.
Yes.
Torres.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Warple.
Yes.
Rakos.
Yes.
Vines.
No. 8 in favor, 1 opposed, motion carries.
You're all right.
Okay. We are still under new and unfinished business. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chair Lady.
Any other new and unfinished business? Who asked for the floor? Markovich.
Yes, all that information that our controller was quoting with the IC statutes, please forward all that to our attorney.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam Chairman,
Councilman Torres.
Toys for Tots, which is a program that, of course, accepts donations to get toys for children during the holidays, Christmas year. It's in need of donations, and I have Judy Wall, which is working in conjunction with Toys for Tots and Haven House, wants to ask the council if we can donate any amount of money to the program. I'm sure she'll speak on it. Can I call her to the floor?
She is signed up for public expression, and she is the only speaker. So as soon as we wind up here, she will have an opportunity to speak.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up, that she
Thank you, Judy.
and the program is asking for donations, and they're kind of behind on them.
Okay.
Judy, you'll get your chance to speak.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd just like a letter to go to Gary Gleason in regards to the recent snow we had on Forest and State Line. They're still pushing the snow against the residents' garages and causing a conflict. So I'm just requesting that Gary would have his staff for that block, 6300 block, and I guess 6400 block of State Line and Forest, to push the snow another direction so that the residents can be able to get out of their garage when weather permits, or if snow is to the point where they can't get out, so that they push it another direction so they're not blocked in. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs to have a letter sent to Gary Gleason about the snow plowing in the 6300 block of Forest and State Line. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Torres. Gentlemen, you're distracting, I'm sorry. Second by Councilman Torres. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Hello, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any other new and unfinished business?
Madam President,
Councilman Higgs.
during caucus, we had an opportunity to have a couple of the teachers come before us, speaking in terms from Eggers Middle School about a trip for female students to go to Washington, D.C. on a field trip. And I would hope that we're coming to the end of the year and we have additional funding that we can provide some funding for these individuals so they can actually take these students on a trip to Washington, D.C.
Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business? Well, I neglected to announce the upcoming Community and Crime Watch meetings under committee reports, so I will do that. Community Watch at Mount Zion will meet Wednesday, December 12th at 2 p.m. at Mount Zion Pleasant View Plaza. On Tuesday, December 18th, East Hammond Pullman Crime Watch will meet at 6:30 p.m. at the Ophelia Steen Center. Edison on the Road will meet Friday, December 14th at 4 p.m. at Golden Manor Senior Apartments. Thursday, December 20th, Hessville Crime Watch will meet 7 p.m. at the Gene Shepherd Center. Wednesday, December 19th, Lafayette Neighborhood Watch will meet at Lafayette School. That is at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, December 20th, 7 p.m. The South Hammond Crime Watch will meet at the Hammond Housing Authority building. And on Thursday, December 13th, the Whiting Robertsdale Crime Watch will meet at Calumet College, 6:30 p.m. in room 200. I also wanted to announce that the Eastside Community Council is partnering with the Hammond Police Department for their 9th annual holiday treats giveaway This is on Wednesday, December 19th at Hammond High School. This is the season of giving, so please give from the heart. The ESCC is sponsoring a toy giveaway for Hammond children aged 0 to 17. They are still collecting toys through December 17th. Any new or unwrapped toys can be dropped off at the Eastside Community Council office, which is at the Hub on Holman Avenue in downtown Hammond, and also the Boys and Girls Club. As I said, the event is Wednesday, December 19th, 6 p.m. at Hammond High School for children of all ages, and it is a very heartwarming event, and I recommend that everyone attend. Thank you. Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? Any other new and unfinished business? New and unfinished business is now closed. Public expression. The first speaker of the evening is Miss Judy Wall. Thank you for your patience, ma'am. And I missed you at the Haven House giveaway on Friday. I have your gift card right here. If you would please state your name and address.
My name
for the
is
record.
Judy Allen Wall. I live at 251 Doty Street in Hammond, and I worked for the city of Hammond for 17 years and retired. I've been retired for 10.5 years, but I turned 81 this last week, and my health is getting the best of me sometimes. I like to nap a lot more. So I do miss a lot of functions. I'm here. I've never come before the city council to ask for money for Haven House, even though I started over 38 years ago. I have always relied on some very good board members and people to do fundraising, and I'd work out of my home. I don't work at the shelter. I do fundraising and getting donations about other things out of my home. But something has come to my attention, and it was on the 5 o'clock news besides what I've learned over the weekend, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm going to get you home so you can watch 10 o'clock news, Channel 5. I have a toy drive with my family at White Castle on 165th and Calumet Avenue. We had it last Friday. It's always the coldest first Friday of the month in December. We freeze, but my kids and I do it so we can have new toys for the kids at the shelter. And I always say we need new toys because Santa Claus doesn't bring used toys. I have been very fortunate over the 30-some years that I've been doing the toy drive that we've been able to provide. I had a gentleman stop by several years ago, and he wanted information about the shelter, and he lives in the area. I'm not sure if he lives in Hammond or if he lives in Highland, but he's in this area. His name is Tom Diaz, and he is Vice President of Toys for Tots. And he contacted me, said he wanted to do something local, and he has been helping Haven House with our toy by donating toys. He not only donates them, he brings them from the warehouse in Broadview, Illinois, where he goes and they sort and pack toys, puts them in his truck, and brings them to my house because we don't allow people to come into the shelter after 4 o'clock. And he drops them off at my house, and he's been doing this yearly for me. And just a very great guy. So you'll see him tonight on TV. But what has happened is the Marines started this, and they have a motorcycle ride. What happened is the weather was very bad. It was rainy and icy and freezing, and the people did not turn out because it's not safe to ride a motorcycle on icy streets. So consequently, they did not get the donations. Now, this is not just the Chicago area. This is a whole, when you see the film tonight on TV, you'll see a mass of motorcycle operators, and they are from all over the area, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, all over. But they also show a very disturbing thing. Mary, the secretary, had talked to me, and she told me our donation would be smaller this year because of the low turnout. And I had told her I would be grateful for anything I could get, because we have always had increase at the shelter. We have seniors, we have 2 men, and we have a house full of kids and adults at the shelter right now. So I said, whatever you can bring me, I will be grateful for. They dropped off bags for me yesterday, and I didn't even know he was coming yesterday, but they dropped him off, knocked on my door, and of course I didn't hear him because I was in the back part of my house. And Mary called me and said, your toys are on your front porch. We couldn't get you to come to the door. We thought maybe you were taking a nap, because I always tell everybody that's what happens. But what happened is, seeing this news program tonight, I just teared up, and I'm sure you will too. They showed empty shelves. We have kids all over. The day that need toys, the day of our toy drive, last Friday, we had 3 toy drives going on. Everybody needs help, and I mean, I just want everybody to help kids. But the police were also at the corner of Calumet and 165th collecting. I don't know what they were collecting for, but flashing lights caught everybody's attention. But it's a situation of, this is a time of year we need to think of the kids, and especially the ones in the shelter, because they are uprooted from their homes. They're in a very fragile situation. They leave with the clothes on their back. And if any of you have brothers and sisters, if you were thrown in one room to stay for 45 days with your mom and your brothers and sisters, and that's where you had to go when the first child had to go to sleep because they're not allowed to run around the shelter, you can imagine what a trying situation is. So if these kids have a toy that they can call their own, it's very precious. And when I went to the shelter today, I met one of the fathers, and he told me, he said he was so grateful for Haven House and that we took him in and we saved his life. And he was battered by his wife, but he was raised not to strike back. But he didn't up and move out until he found out that she was abusing their 9-year-old daughter. The daughter is at the shelter with him. So, I mean, I'm sure many of you guys would do the same thing for your kids. They're very important, and this is a very important time of the year. So he's not asking, he didn't ask me for help. He was surprised when he found out we had a wish list. My son-in-law is working to fill his wish list, but we don't do a lot. We just want to make sure everybody has a present open. But right now, Tom needs our help. And if you can give $1, if you can give $10, if you can give $100, this is the time I want everybody to open up their checkbook, whether it's a council checkbook or whether it's your personal checkbook. I'm here begging for Tom, and I will get the money to him. If you get it to me or to Pete, we need it before Christmas to get these toys. I would suggest money because it's always easier, because we don't know what age group we need to fill in on, and from my personal experience, and I can go out and buy what age group I need. But I'm asking, Tom doesn't even know I'm here, but I really hope that you will help me help them. There's supposed to be drop-off centers at Walgreens, but I haven't seen them. I haven't been in there to see them. But they also mentioned something on the news about a sweatshirt that was for sale, but I don't know anything about that either. But please watch the News Channel 5 tonight, and you'll see why I'm so worried about these kids.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
And-
thank you for your big heart.
Okay, also, I don't know what advice I can offer, but your situation with your secretary, as you all know, I've retired from the city, but I've lived through this situation on both sides of the fence, so I will be glad to offer any
Thank you very much.
information on that from
Thank
both
you.
controller and.
Madam
secretary.
President,
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman?
I make a motion that we adjourn from this meeting. Not so moved.
May I please close public expression? Public expression is now closed.
I make a motion that we adjourn from this meeting. Not so moved.
Is there a second? All righty, motion by Councilman Higgs. I didn't hear who the second was to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Everyone have a wonderful evening.